It is so important to find the schedule that works for you in order for you to be productive, or in order for you to make money, or spend time with your loved ones, or spend time doing your hobby, or whatever it is. But it's so important for you to actually find that and then understand that and then stick to that. I remember when I was younger, I realized, I don't know how, but by some stroke of luck, I realized that I was like a morning person, like very much a morning person, to the point that now, fast forward, I wake up at ridiculous. I wake up between 1 and 2 in the morning, and I do that because I know my brain is so alert before the sun comes up for whatever reason that I maximize that. I intentionally maximize that so I can get so much stuff done. Anyway, when I was younger, I whatever morning it was, I woke up and I did something. Maybe I was going on a camping trip or something. I can't remember what it was, but I got up and for whatever reason, I was so insanely productive. And I remember being like, wow, what normally takes me 3 hours because I'm dragging my feet and I'm complaining in my head, I'm complaining out loud, right? I'm doing the stuff. I'm doing what I need to get done. And I remember being young and just thinking, wow, like the morning I got so much done. And that was me personally, right? Now I know people who are night owls, and we'll get to that in a second. The point is, after that time, you know how productive I was once I really realized that? Not at all. The reason why I was not at all productive was because I basically ignored that fact for years. As I kept going, this was sometime in high school, and as I kept going to high school, right, I kept staying up late and convincing myself that, I would do my work and my this and my that after school. I was convinced that homework was this after school thing. I mean, that's what they show in all the like TV shows on Family Channel, whatever, right? Like that homework is like after school. You get home and you do it on the kitchen table, whatever. But what I ignored was that my brain worked better in the morning. Now, in university, I then rediscovered that I was a morning person. I would write a paper that would take me, I don't know, weeks to write. I would do a sentence here and a sentence there when I got home from class, if I even went to class, right? But in the night, I would do a sentence here and there, and I'd convince myself that, I was making progress. But then I'd turn that paper in, and even though, yes, I was doing little by little, like making some progress, I'd turn it in. It was never nearly as good as when I just woke up one morning, wrote the entire thing in one morning, edited it all in the same morning, which is breaking every rule that most writers say. I was doing it all in one morning. And that worked for me because for whatever reason, both my productive side of my brain and the creative side of my brain were both firing on full cylinders in the morning. And so really the message here is a couple things. The first thing is, when you know that you work well, and it could be you work really, really well with, I don't know, a mug of hot chocolate, right? It might just be that you work better like that. Then optimize to that. Have the hot chocolate in your house, know when to drink it, do the work, etc. It might be that you wake up early, might be that you stay up really late. Like I have a few really good friends, probably the majority of my friends actually. And again, some of them making lots and lots and lots of money. They get up at like, if it was up to them, if they didn't have to be somewhere in the morning, they'd get up at 11 or maybe noon. And, they might mess around for some time, and then they wouldn't do any actual work until maybe like 9 p.m. And then from 9 p.m. to like 3, 4 in the morning, they would just kill it. And like, I could never do that. Now, ironically, I'm actually awake at those times, right? At least starting between 1 and 2 in the morning. I'm awake at those times, but it's a different mechanism, right? I'm woken up and I feel as though I'm refreshed. Other people, they feel as though it's the opposite. It's not about being refreshed. It's about warming up, right? They warm up throughout the day. But the first message that you need to take away is whatever your routine is, there's this obsession with going online and finding like these hacks, like here's the best time that the brain will enter the flow state, like 13 seconds faster if you start at this time of the day because your cortisol is here and the sun in the sky is there and Neptune happens to be, all this stuff, right? The point is that your optimal strategy, your optimal routines, all those things are actually so intuitive. It's not about being told, like, yes, there is certain objective advice that's helpful. For example, working out right before you go to bed, probably not going to help your sleep. A couple things, right? Having a big cup of coffee right before you go to bed, probably not going to help your sleep, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Staying in bed and like if your morning routine is I wake up and I scroll on Instagram for 2 hours, like that's probably also not going to help your concentration or your anxiety or all these things, right? There are some objective things that can help you be more optimized in your life, again, in general. But for the most part, it's really intuitive. And the funny thing is, even those general tips, like you would find those out intuitively anyway. Like even though, yes, you could watch some YouTube video, could be mine, could be someone else's that tells you, hey, don't do X before Y and don't do A before B or whatever. You would intuitively discover that anyway. So what I'm telling you is to whatever has been working for you, whatever gets you marginally better results, some pattern that you can find, whatever you're optimizing towards, is it improving your physique? Is it improving your relationships? Is it improving your money, et cetera, et cetera? Whatever those things are, take note of them and don't ignore them and actually implement them. Implement them regularly, okay? If you know that at night, for whatever reason, between 10 and midnight. Those 2 hours are just your golden hours, right? Put the biggest, most important thing in those hours and don't miss that. Just don't miss it. It's that simple. That's the first main takeaway. The second main takeaway is that other people might tell you a certain way to do things, okay? Of course. I mentioned this earlier a moment ago, but it can be very addictive to listening to advice. Very addictive. Now, you need to remember that that's not like doing the work, okay? Like that's not actually like getting the thing done. That's not really being accountable. That's just motivation. Here's something that someone very close to me had said to me that like kind of blew my mind, honestly. And she said it totally just on a whim. And it totally blew my mind. You know those videos online on YouTube that are like, they're like clips of like self-help, self-wellness, like content, like really famous people. It might be Tony Robbins. Again, awesome dude. Like it might be one of these guys, like one of those sort of guys. And it'll be like those clips. And then it'll be like edits and it'll show guys like Rocky, like running in the rain, you know, all this kind of stuff, whatever. And I've always looked at those clips and thought, this is productive. Like it's putting me in a position, like this is productive because it's putting me in a position to do the work, right? And that might not even be wrong. But what she said was, wow, like this video is so emotional. And it kind of blew my mind. I was like, even though it's so simple, it's like hidden in plain sight. That people giving you advice and like being like, here's the best hack to do this. It's like, it feels productive to learn those things, but it's actually emotional. And this isn't a bad thing or a good thing. This is just a distinction that's important to make, because if you're looking to sit down and be productive and make something, right? Like emotion, a lot of times, of course, there are examples, or there are exclusions, excuse me. But emotion, a lot of times, is like reaction. It's like something will happen in the world and then your emotion will happen within you. But if your goal is to be productive and make things, right, then being emotional isn't necessarily your goal. Of course, they can happen at the same time, right? It's awesome if your emotion is a lot of positivity and motivation and blah, 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 blah. That'll obviously help you make things. But just keep in mind that even advice people are giving you, even when you're looking for the best hack for this and the best hack for that, and look, there's a bunch on my channel. And I'm not trying to demonize my own content, but I am just saying that that's not doing the thing, right? That's not being productive necessarily. So again, guys, I'm going to leave you with that. First thing is whatever the routine is that you're looking for, whatever the optimization hacks, like you probably already know what they are. You're just not paying as much attention as you should be. So just figure out when do you actually get the most stuff done? Like when are things easier for you? And by the way, it might always be difficult. Like you might be a procrastinator at heart. You might be. And if that's the case, please talk to me in the comments, because that's something that I love dealing with, right? I've been a procrastinator for a long time. And for the most part, I figured out how to deal with it, right? Not overcome it, but deal with it, right? And then the next part is that advice, again, is a lot of mental masturbation, right? It's more important. People need to be reminded more than they need to be taught, right? Very important line. So you probably already know what's best for you, but listening to advice can be very emotional, which can feel good. So I'll leave you there. Thank you guys so much for watching. My name is Spencer, the Must Become. Always remember that your potential is your obligation, and so what you can become, you must become.